Hi guys, it's me, Suze, your holistic stylist, coming to you from the third cosmic ray in the very spiritual hours between midnight and 3 a.m. with a witnessing on what's been going on with me since the 10th of June. So, for those of you who know me, we're constantly talking about the ascension process that's going on right now. And we are at an exact one-time, exact conjuncture where wondrous miracles are taking place. So it's so important that we focus on our realities, and so that's what I've chosen to do. So with that being said, I'm going to chill out on the biomat and tell you about this story. I haven't really done a YouTube laying down yet, so I am going to be as comfortable as possible. So, here we go, guys. The discussion and topic at hand is something called multidimensional energy alignment. And this was offered to me as a healing treatment by a dear friend, Monica, from Brazil. And so she had, sent the link about it on Facebook, which you can easily find. And of course, I immediately wanted to do it. So, the day before the alignment, which was to be the 11th, the day before, I made my first YouTube with the new camera here, so I'm mobile now. I can come to you from the hair shop or the treatment room, wherever I choose, from the garden. So it's going to really expand the subject matter we can talk about. So that day I made my YouTube on magnesium therapy made easy. And that's something that I talk about also as a practicing hairdresser that engages my clients on the mind, body, and spirit level. That was my first YouTube as the holistic stylist. I've done probably 8 to 10 other things that are posted on YouTube, various places. So, on the day of the energy alignment, which was to be 11 p.m. on the 11th, I spent the day outside communing with nature, gardening, pulling weeds, really just being grateful for what blessings we've been given. And the garden here is beautiful. So I know now for a fact there's places that are beautiful all around the globe, and it is what God calls for and what destiny is, that the human race survives. So we're going to see a beautiful planet again, which really excites me. So anyhow, later on in the afternoon that day, Joe and I were sitting in the TV room, and we can see out onto Florissant Road. We see everything that's going on. And so here was this guy, and he had a big, really cool new motorcycle, and he had run out of gas. And so he was coming backwards down the street to pull into the Little Caesars lot, which is here by the big yellow house. So, of course, Joe went out to help him, and, he had a gas can, and he was going to take the dude to the gas station, or actually go get him gas, because he didn't want him to leave his bike alone. So at the same time Joe was meeting this guy and talking to him about his bike, another woman pulled up. And this woman had wondered whether or not, she should stop. She's a lady alone, and Spirit told her it was safe to stop. And she was drawn to Joe. Most people are. And they got involved in a conversation. And before Joe had went to go get this guy some gas, the woman said to Joe, "Do you live in that big yellow house there? I could feel your energy and feel the energy of the house." And he said, "Yes, I do." And she said, "Well, I'm looking for your woman too, your wife," which of course would be me. And she says, "I know about her." So anyhow, they came to the house, and what a cool meeting that was. Very highly educated woman, and we had a long conversation, but I should back up a minute to say that, I had, also worked that day, so it was a busy day. I was doing a lot of things. Back to the story. Through a series of synchronicity-based sentences and words, believe it or not, we came to know the same person that lives in Brazil, and I'm friends with on Facebook, that's doing the multidimensional energetic alignment. So it gets cooler by the minute. You see what's happening here. And we spoke at great length, actually, up till about a half hour before I believed it was time to come upstairs to the room and take flight. I'm not very good with military time, or sometimes understanding what I'm seeing, I guess. So I had planned to be up here by 10, although my alignment wasn't till 11. And there are no mistakes or, chance happenings. So it was nice. It gave me time to get up here into the room and relax. And it's funny when you're trying to relax, sometimes it's the hardest thing to do. But I'm pretty good at it, and the biomat helps. So I was focusing on my breathing. And like with heart math, and I've spoke about this before, on the in-breath, we're breathing in through our heart, and we're feeling all the love that the universe has to give us. And on the out-breath, we're going to give that same amount of love back. And so, with Wingmaker's philosophy, the idea that we can also work with is on the in-breath, I am, and on the out-breath, we are. So, there's different kinds of breathing techniques. I'm sure a lot of you know that already study different holistic philosophies. And they're all to be used for specific purpose. Intention makes everything more powerful, right? So, since I have been experiencing this phenomena, really every day since September 1st, nothing shocks me, and actually I already know because it's been disclosed to me through the telepathic communications going on my spiritual journey. And for those of you that don't know, in my experience, never being on the computer in 30 years, everything that I have learned and come to be involved with has been through a process of telepathy, because your heart is your true brain. Your brain is your computer. And the tablet or the computer is actually the interface. And of course, all the people that really know about computer technology say, well, you know, Suze, that is right. So, confirmation of spirit on the phenomena in progress. Right about 11 o'clock, you know, the idea that was resonating with me was that even though I was laying straight, I could almost imagine myself tilting onto my side this way and being able to just walk up and walk away from my body if I chose to. Now, I've also spoke on other videos on this topic, and I think that one must be a master before they take that on, and I wasn't a master until now, and so things are developing very rapidly, and that's another reason why it's important to document this journey to help other people, and so I can grow and leave a record for my grandbabies and for the rest of humanity and the galaxy. So by 11 I was in the zone, and actually, of course, that was the actual time that Monica was doing her work. So, in words that I hope to speak as eloquently as Monica did, she opens up a 5D portal where her and I are in a constant sisterhood of communication, which I've always felt that way about Monica. She's actually my most trusted alliance. So it was easy for me to trust and to go with this process and to know I would be safe. Sometimes when people have this done, the person may be right in the same room. Well, went through this process and came out of it at about 11 minutes to midnight and went up, or, you know, got up from the mat and went downstairs and spent time with Joe. And, you know, one of the things, interestingly enough, that Monica had warned about, of course, we're all hearing to drink lots of water, stay hydrated, and that's why I also talk to people about magnesium and elixir water and things of that nature. But anyhow, we were talking about, yes, the water, and that in going through this experience, I might become very emotional. And for those of you that know me, there's many things I could be emotional about, and of course I'll give a prime example after we're done with the focus of the day of the 11th. I just wanted to kind of get through that story. So, interestingly enough, like I told you, the lady that we had just met, that vibed us out, that lives 2 streets down, that had the same MEA alignment with a friend that she knows that actually trained with Monica. Absolute divine synchronicity, praise God. Okay, that's enough for that day. Now we'll move on to the 12th. And it gets better by the minute because, you know, we always doubt ourselves. So, like I said, I know not to doubt myself because the phenomena came and spoke to me. So I'm beyond doubt, I am full-blown belief in going with the flow like an evolved Pisces would do. So, got up the next day feeling like $1,000,000, and I was going to work that day. Got on Facebook, was checking in, and yeah, it's always a beautiful experience because the people that are friends are just so cool. So, anyhow, I'm doing that thing. And Lauren, who you guys know on Facebook, my beautiful daughter, she comes downstairs with her computer, sits in front of my computer, does the deal, and shows me that my oldest daughter, which you guys are trying to learn, deal, and process the sad story that truly isn't a sad story about my oldest. So anyhow, here she is on Facebook, and wow, it's a new page, and there's very few friends, and Lauren tried to be her friend, and of course Chelsea rejected it, and that's cool, and that is really just not for this conversation. I don't want to bring the deal down. We'll go down that journey another day, because I'm sure there'll be a lot coming up with it. And I'm leaving this record, like I said, not only for my grandchildren, but to actually bear witness to how much I do love my Chelsea Desiree, my firstborn, the one that actually believes she didn't choose to come to this planet. She was forced, where I believe that I came with a purpose, a job, if you will, and that I was going to give this experience fully back to Mother, Father, God. So she's a Sagittarius, I'm a Pisces. Everything went kaboom. It's been 3 years, and from what I know, through the phenomena that we've seen on Facebook, so say the wonderful Dr. Catherine May, who channels Jesus Sananda, archangels, awesome group. Anyhow, and I believe this, and I see the reality of it. Okay, so they say that between February and May of 2015, 5 million of the darkest cabal souls have been taken to the Temple of Light. Now that's not right down the street in an empty building here in Ferguson, you understand. It's on a different astral plane, of course, than what we're on. This is a heavenly, cosmic, cool place that God said create, you know. So anyhow, they go and they have 2 options. Now the first one, of course, because we have a God of love, is to have them go through what we do, go through a life review, judge themselves, be given a clean soul to work with, come back as light workers. So imagine, they go to sleep at night, their astral body travels to the temple, they experience this within themselves, and if they choose to not work the program, they're disintegrated. And, you know, really they said that very few of these dark cabal actually wanted to be disintegrated. So for the majority, when they wake up in the morning and they're back in their skin, now can you imagine this? What a trip this is. So now they have told the angels and God Almighty that they're going to be light workers, right? And they also shared this with them. Sorry, guys. no more free will anymore, in the respect that you could make this promise on another plane, come back, be hanging out with some buddies, and they say, hey, let's go torture somebody or eat somebody, and you go, well, maybe I want to do that. Zap. And you know what? That really is fair. And we have been oppressed and slaves for so long under a false program of a vengeful God, which is not our true mother and father. So, myself personally, I just couldn't be happier about this whole thing. Alright, so we're on the 12th, and I'm telling you this because if you think about it, what I just told you, you would hope that anybody that withdrew love and worked these dark thought forms that created all this pain and suffering, you would surely want them to turn around and their hearts to be healed. And part of the reason I'm doing this work is because when we speak it and project it out into the world and share it with others, that the manifestation that comes back, like I said, has just got this incredibly abundant, loving energy, and the only thing that can conquer the dark forces is love. That's what this work is about for all of us, light workers, healers, galactic people, international justice of the Tribunal of Natural Justice. Bless their hearts, coming online on the 15th. Still having a hard time saying that word and getting it right, but we all know who you are. So, considering all that, you can imagine when I got to doing hair that day, I was a little emotional, but not in a sad way, in a way of feeling a lot of energy in my body, getting a little lightheaded. I sat down for a minute. I mean, I felt fine, drank some water, no big deal. Didn't cry publicly, but like I said, opened up my heart as wide as I could, and of course that was another suggestion from my dear friend, and I understand how and why I am to do that, and why I'm a good candidate for the work. So I'm humbled and honored to do the best I can do to fulfill this contract that has been in my Akasha forever. When I got done working, right, my new friend Ann was back, and she wanted to share with me her journey, which is an honor, and she blessed me with lemon oil, which was beautiful, and she brought me lovely gifts, God bless her. So I want to show you the beautiful rosary here, and then also the bindi on my forehead. So I've never worn a bindi, but I am feeling very universal these days, and I have no dogma left, and we all have the same God of love. So it was very cool today to wear this all day. I love it. Well, anyhow, we had a great talk, and that went on again for 2.5 hours. And bless her heart, like I said, highly, highly educated woman. Very spiritual, and what we consider the word we use Christian, because Christ is her brother. And, you know, definitely not dogmatic and definitely alternative. So, fits right in with us hippies, right? And when we finished, well, I should say this too about that conversation. There was so many synchronicities in the conversation as we went along, and that's one way that you can really feel in your heart to trust your journey, because these synchronicities line up. They are not coincidences. So we're going to spend a lot of time together in the future exploring this. And interestingly enough, on one of the private correspondence that happened between my dear sister and myself, she had said that only I would know if I had met this scientist person or not that would be integral, that's always a hard word, in our journey. And so, you know, of course, I'm going to say confirmation of spirit. She would be in a very small group of people that I would say would be probabilities and different manifestations of the same goal. Yeah. So, still felt really good. Did a lot of YouTubing that night too. What's surprising, but you know, mystery school is effective any hour of the day, and the only person you're hurting by skipping it, of course, is yourself. So today, Saturday, right? Well, of course I know today is the 14th, but I'm reviewing Saturday now. So, got up, did some hair, and got myself ready to go. Put my bendy on, and did a YouTube to my wonderful, professional, holistic hairdressing friends. Then hung out with my new friend is renamed, you guys have come to know as Smokey Joe. She'd like to add another name and say Indian Joe, which is true. Joe is definitely Indian in bloodline and spirit. And Joe and I are twin flames. And you know, interestingly enough, did you know that over time, I mean, we all know redheads have been persecuted, but certain cultures actually honored and revered them too. So one of them was the Indians. So say I was a settler woman, redheaded, you know, and there's a confrontation between the settlers and the Indians, and there winds up being a fight, and people lose their lives. They never killed the redheads, thank God. Just wanted to add that in. So, this has been my evening, and I have no clue what time it is. I'm going to guess and say it's about 1:45 or 2 in the morning now. You know, last week, and for any of you that follow the astrology, they had warned with the retrogrades that we would have glitches in our electronics, and so many people posted that they did, and I had a few here and there. And, you know, we just went out of the Mercury retrograde, and now the planet Neptune is actually standing still for this brief moment in time, and it goes retrograde. And I listened to some really very aligned links that I know were sent directly for my eyes to see. But when I tried to share them, it wasn't going to let me share it. So it's not time for me to disclose the mysteries of the 14th Spirit has let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it makes sense. If you find this interesting and you don't know where I'm at, you can find me, I think, at Sue's Pratt on YouTube. And my daughter says that it has something to do with my email address, which is the Holistic Stylist, TheHolisticStylist at gmail.com. Whew. Now, I would like to say one more thing, and then, you know, we'll be done for the evening or the morning or whatever. Open my eyes up here and get clear. I would really like to tell you guys about the music that's going on in the background. So I'm going to sit up, grab this piece of paper. Okay. This was loaded to YouTube on my birthday. Oops, can't see my... There I am. On my birthday in 2014. And I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but I do want to give this gentleman credit, so I'm going to spell his name for you. BOGUSLAWSZEDNY on YouTube. And this is an angelic meditation soundtrack. And like I said, it was published on my birthday a year ago in 2014, which would have been my 50th year. And in life charting, Rudolf Steiner talks about 49 is an initiation year. And I'll leave you with this truth. It's called the year of the priesthood. So, with that being said, when you life chart, you never were 0.